Cute as a cupcake, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. Now, coast to coast and all in between, you can have Cute as a Cupcake delivered directly to your door. Go to www.cuteasacupcake3.com. Yes, that's www.cuteasacupcake3.com and tickle your belly with these delicious treats. Go get them right now. www.cuteasacupcake.com, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. Good afternoon, and welcome to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I am your host, Kevin King. He is I, and I am him, the 800 Credit Score Man himself. And once again, thank each and every one of you for coming in and listening to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I truly, truly appreciate it. Hey, it is a special weekend, right? Everybody's stuck in the house. No matter what your preference is or what have you, it happens to be Easter weekend, right? So tomorrow is Easter. But not only that, a special weekend. And when I refer to it, what I'm talking about today is my birthday. Yes, my birthday falls on Easter this year, so April the 12th. So shout out to all the April babies out there, all the Aries out there. My birthday is tomorrow, so happy birthday to me for my birthday. So let's go. Let's get it in. So today what we're going to do, we're going to talk about some common credit moves and how they impact your credit score. So we're going to talk about those things today on the 800 Credit Score Man Show, the special show, my birthday show. So shout out to me, Kevin King. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Hey, I'm probably going to mention this one more time if I don't forget. So you want to get me something for my birthday? Do two things. I want you to do two things for me for my birthday. So one is actually for you. Go get your official credit report. Go get the official one. So use the FCRA, allows us to get our credit report at www.annualcreditreport.com. If you haven't used it in quite some time, so you can get it once from each credit bureau on a 12-month rolling basis. So if you've gotten your TransUnion one already, 5-6 months ago, you can't get that one. So you need to get the Experian one, or you need to get the Equifax one. If you're signed up with one of the places that I always mention, Credit Karma, right? I always mention them. You can get your TransUnion and Equifax there, but you can't get your Experian there. So go to www.annualcreditreport.com. Go there and get your Experian credit report, especially if you haven't seen it in quite some time. All right? Do that. That's what I want you to do for me for my birthday. So that's one of the gifts that I want you to get me. The second gift I want you to do, if you have not gotten 5 Pillars of Credit, the ebook that I wrote a year ago, I wrote 5 Pillars of Credit. Go to Amazon.com and get 5 Pillars of Credit. $3. If you already have a copy of 5 Pillars of Credit, then go there and buy one for someone else. Buy one for somebody else. It's $3. You guys go to Amazon.com and pick up 5 Pillars of Credit by Kevin King, the 800 Credit Score Man. All right, so common credit moves and their impact on your credit score. So I want to talk about this today, and specifically because over the last week and a half or so, I have been very busy, very, very busy. Now, why am I so busy now in this particular time? I think it's because a lot of people must be trying to move a little differently. They're trying to move differently once this coronavirus episode is over. They're setting their priorities right now, almost like the end of the year and New Year's resolution. They're setting priorities, and some are seeing the value in actually having good credit right now. So think about it like this. If you're getting paid, if you're not getting paid right now and you have a lack of funds saved, are you going to allow yourself and your family to starve, or would you go ahead and would you use your credit? What would you do? So whether Whether that's a credit card or it's the ability to get a loan to survive during this time, what would you do? Maybe you would use your credit, but if you don't have any, then you're stuck, right? So if you've got bad credit and no income, then you can forget about it. You can forget about getting credit. And credit is essential. It's essential. That necessary evil I spoke of last week. And you know what? I'm going to stop calling it that. I'm going to stop calling it a necessary evil, and because it's essential. It is really essential. It's not a nice to have, but it's a need have. It's nice to have a 3-car garage, but it's not absolutely needed. I don't care if you got 2 cars and a boat. It's not necessarily absolutely needed. So it is not a nice to have, but credit is needed. Water, that is an absolute need, not a nice to have. You need water. So I hope you get my point in that regard. So like I said, I've been extremely busy. And since I've been busy, I've been fielding a lot of phone calls, having a bunch of appointments, and talking to a lot of people, even via email and whatnot. So if you've got questions, email me, 800@creditscoreman.com. Email me there. Also on Instagram and Facebook, I'm 800CreditScoreMan. And on Twitter, at @creditscore_man on Twitter. So I've been talking to a lot of people. And over this last week and a half or so, a lot of things have come up. I mean, people that are actually calling and becoming clients for credit restoration with the 800 Credit Score Man LLC. They're becoming, clients, but they're making moves prior to talking to me. Like they decided a week ago that, they were going to reach out and, potentially become a client. We set an appointment. Maybe we missed an appointment. We missed one, but it's been a couple of days, and they're making these moves prior to talking to me about them. So let me step here and say, if you plan on talking to me about your credit, don't do anything beforehand, whether you become a client or not. Whether we just have a little conversation over the phone, which is 312-600-5855 or whatnot. Don't make any moves before you get to me, unless it's absolutely dire. You must do something right now. Don't make any moves before you talk to me. I don't want you to make the wrong move or something that's counteracting what your goal is, which is to increase your credit score. So that's why I wanted to bring this up today and talk about some of these things. So we're going to go through a couple of things that may make sense to us as individuals, out here, but don't necessarily make sense to the credit bureau, or the credit bureaus have a different take on them than the general public. So we're going to go through some of those things today, because a lot of people just don't understand how these things work, and I remember when I didn't understand it either. So we're going to go through some of these things right now. So first question, what happens when you get online and you apply for those 3 different credit cards? Let's say that you go to Credit Karma, and they recommend, 3 cards for you, and you go ahead and you apply for all 3 of those credit cards. What happens to your credit when that goes down? So the first thing, you get 3 different inquiries on your credit report. Now, each inquiry is going to cost you points, right? Your credit score is going to fall with each inquiry. With each and every one, it's going to fall. Let's not take the worst scenario, because your inquiries can cost you anywhere between 2 and 10 points, right? So we won't take the worst scenario for our particular example today. Let's just say it's 5 points. It's 5 points for each inquiry. 3 inquiries times 5 points is 15 points. So no matter where you sit, if you sit at a 700, then you gotta, you'd be deducted 15 points. If you're sitting at a 580, you're going to get deducted 15 points. All right. So no matter where you sit, it can move you 15 points, right? By making these 3 inquiries into credit. And let's say you're on the cusp. Let's say you have a 710, which is considered, good credit, right? Now you got to knock these 15 off, and now you're at a 695. You're below the 700, and now your credit sits in the fair range, which is also below the national average when it comes to credit scores. So you might have that issue if you were to do something like this. Same scenario if you're sitting at a 610 and that's not great credit, right? Then you get bumped down to a 595, even worse credit. So you're in a bad situation, in a bad category. Or even if you were in the good, and you took this hit of 15 points and it took you down to poor credit. So you want to make sure that those things do not happen to you and these points come off, and some individuals don't know this either. These points come off whether you're approved or denied. So some people are under the impression that, well, if they don't give me the credit, if I'm denied the credit, then why are they taking points from me? I already have, bad credit or not. My credit score isn't good enough to get approved for this particular thing. So why in the world would they take points from me? It doesn't matter. So if you are applying for credit, the act of applying for credit, period, whether you're approved or denied, you're going to get those points deducted from your credit score. So yes, that's what's going to happen to you. Now, let's say you were approved. Let's say you're approved. Good, now you got 3 new credit cards, right? So let's say you were approved. What else happens to your credit? So now these 3 accounts are added to your credit report. Your length of history is now shorter because you have 3 new accounts. So whatever your length of history was, and your length of history is it's really your average length of history, but it's your age. If you're looking at some of the online places, they call it credit age or the age of your credit. So now that has shortened. So whatever it is, if you had 10 years or 5 years or just 2 years or 5 months, whatever it is, now you've added 3 accounts to your credit report. So your average age, your age of your credit is now less because they're taking the average of that. So that's less. That length of history is 15% of your credit score. I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at. It's not 30 or 35, right? But it's nothing to sneeze at. So that's 15% of your credit score, which means you already took the hit with the inquiries, right? Definitely, from our example, at least 15 points. Now your length of history has come down. You're going to take even more of a hit on your credit report, meaning it's going to go down. It's going to be negative for you. That's going to happen when you go ahead and apply for credit as well. Anything good? Does anything good come out of this scenario? I got 3 new credit cards. Is there anything good that comes out of this scenario? Because now, Kevin, you make it sound like I shouldn't apply for credit ever. So I'm not saying that. Of course there's good that can come out of this as well. So here's what good can come out of it. Yes, there is good. Let's assume you had no credit cards. So if you had no credit cards before and you went from 0 to 3, now you have revolving, and we're going to assume that you already had some kind of installment loan, whether it's a car or a student loan or whatever it is, right? So we're going to assume that you had some kind of revolving, some kind of installment credit already. So now you have both types of credit that the credit bureaus look at, both revolving and installment loans. And that's a good mix, which is helpful for your credit score. So your mix, 10% of your credit score, now that's good for you. So maybe that counteracts a few of those points that you missed because now your length of history is shorter, or now because, they took those points from you for having an inquiry. Now that's a little bit better for you. So yes, that is good for you now that you have that, because we assume that you didn't have any credit cards before, right? So now you have both types of credit. That's helpful for your credit score. Anything else? Is there anything else? Yes, that's going to be helpful for you. So last week we talked a lot about your credit utilization. So now you've added 3 credit limits, whatever it is, whether they gave you $500, $1,000 a piece, or one of them gave you 500, the other one gave you 1,000, and the next one gave you 2,000. Whatever it is, now you have more availability for credit, those credit limits, and you haven't used anything as of yet, and hopefully you won't go out there and go crazy with them, right? We already talked about that whole 30% portion. last week. So